Okay, so today's pepper review is going to be on the Italian pepperoncini. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the pepperoncini plant. Now, I have several of these plants growing around in different areas of my yard, and I'm not really going to show you every single one of those, but we'll focus on this one, being it's in a greenhouse, and I have good access to the plant, and I can show you what the leaves look like, the stem, and everything else. So, let's talk about the plant first, and the leaf type appears to be a very narrow leaf, okay, and the stem is a smooth stem, waxy smooth, no raspiness on it at all. There is no purpling in the stem, but very, very little purpling at the node. So that's one of the characteristics you want to look for when you're growing this, so you know you're growing the Italian pepperoncini and not the pepperoncino or the shahito pepper. Looks a lot like this, so it's not quite the same. These do look different. And you can see these peppers are in several stages right now. We have one that's about to turn brown, and they eventually turn to like a brown color, and then eventually they turn red. So we're going to taste test this red one, so we'll pick this one off first. And I always like to get the peppers like this. If you see them at the original split here, where before it branched off here and here, I usually like to get those out of the way first, because they really draw a lot of energy from the plant, and they cause the plant to stop flowering and things like that. And you want to keep this plant in a flowering state as much as possible. This is the end of the year for me, so for me to keep this going very much longer, I can't imagine me getting about another week, maybe 2 weeks out of it before the first frost comes. And once that pretty much happens, that's pretty much game over. These plants, even in a greenhouse, will get damaged to the point where the leaves will all fall off it, and pretty much any flowers on it are going to die and come off, and it's pretty much game over. So there's no point in me continuing to try to really do anything else with these plants. Normally I trim them back and I do all this stuff in August, but these plants really didn't want to get going this year. It was just a very off year, and that's that. So anyway, that's a pepperoncini. Italian pepperoncini, not the pepperoncino. Now, there's two versions of like pepperoncini-like things. One of them is called the pepperoncino, and the other one is the pepperoncini. So this is the pepperoncini. And I'll be growing the pepperoncino next year or the year after. I had bought seed for those, and I started growing them, and they just never seemed to go anywhere. So we never had any luck with those. So here it is, and you can see there's some damage up here at the top of the cap. That's from certain insects that are eating these holes in my peppers, and I'm not sure what insect this is. But unfortunately they are, and they cost me quite a bit in peppers. I've lost quite a few peppers this year because of these insects. I didn't get seed from them or anything, so I'm not sure what insect it is. There are several insects in my greenhouse that I have been noticing that I haven't really noticed before, including, if you could see it right there, including that right there. Wish I should kill them now, but I don't know. It's one of these insects that are causing the damage. So anyway, there it is. That's your Italian pepperoncini. Now I'm growing a pepperoncini, which I'm referring to as pepperoncini 1 or number 2. And then this is called the Italian pepperoncini. And the reason why I separated the two was because they were from two different seed companies, and one called it pepperoncini, the other one called it Italian pepperoncini. They very well could be the same plant, but I pretty much kept the seeds different, and I associated them differently, though they both are pepperoncini. So this is the Italian pepperoncini. That's about it. Let's turn you around and take a taste test. Alright guys, so we're doing another in-house pepper review, and this is the Pepperoncini pepper. And if you notice, I don't know if you're seeing this video before some of my other videos, but some of the other videos I am not doing my typical taste tests with those peppers. Number one, they're very hot peppers, like million plus SHU peppers, and I'm not going to be eating those direct, though I did one or two, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I really don't want to get into doing that because I'm just not really into super hot peppers that way. I like to dry my super hot peppers. So you'll notice some of my pepper reviews on some of the super hots. It's just basically me showing you the pepper, opening it up, cutting a small piece off with a knife, and then eating it that way and trying to describe the flavor that way. Though I do explain in that video, when you dry these peppers out, they tend to have a different taste when they're in a powdered form. And that's really the form that I like the taste of these peppers in. I don't care for that fruity flavor as much, but when you dry them out, that fruity flavor disappears. And that's the flavor that I really like. Even with the habaneros, I like them better dried. But that's me. So anyway, this is the Pepperoncini. Try to give you a better look at it. Man, the sun is bright today. Whew! And this is generally a mild heated pepper. I know that. It's not a very hot pepper, but they can get pretty warm. I've had some of these where they were a lot warmer than they should have been. But generally, the best way to pick these peppers is when they're green and to pickle them. That is really the best thing you can do with these peppers. Some people say and have commented in the past on the Pepperoncini and says they like snacking on these peppers, which is fine. I'm not as inclined to eat these like this. I would prefer to pickle them. They seem to taste better. And if you do it, if you pickle these the right way, you can pickle them and they stay nice and crunchy for you. But I don't prefer to eat these generally fresh, and I do dry them out as well. But for the sake of video, I am going to eat it fresh and try to describe the fresh flavor for you. And this is a ripened one, whereas a lot of the times most people will pick them green and eat them green. This is a ripened one, so it's going to have some sweetness to it. And not everybody likes peppers being sweet. It looks like a spider web on there. But let's give it a bite and see what it tastes like. Amazing, actually. Last year's experience wasn't that good with these peppers. This year is a different experience. I'm waiting to see if any heat builds up. So far, there's no heat at all. If there is, it's very light. I don't taste it. But the flavor on this pepper is really nice this year. Last year, it wasn't that nice. I didn't particularly care for it too much. It's sweet. It has a nice sweetness to it, literally sweet. And it has a pepper taste to it, if you know what I'm trying to say. There's like a lot of times I'll say, oh, that was sweet and it tastes like an apple. This is sweet, but it tastes like a pepper. And it's a very nice taste to it. Very sweet, and again, it has that peppery taste to it. It doesn't have a fruity flavor at all. It does has that sweet taste, and it's a very nice type of sweetness. So not much to say. When you get into these sweet peppers, I'm really not able to describe any heat or anything. So there is a very, very slight type of heat. Very slight. I would say like 5 SHU. Almost nothing. I can barely detect it. But I do detect a little bit. Very little on my lips. Very, 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 very little. But there is something. Very, ever so slightly. But the taste is really, really nice. Now, when you eat these green, you're generally not going to get a sweetness to them. They're going to have kind of a green flavor. And they're best pickling when they're green. Though you probably can pickle both green and red, which would be nice for display if you're going to put it on your shelf or something. But very nice pepper. Pepperoncini, the Italian Pepperoncini. Definitely recommend this one. I will do a taste test on the regular Pepperoncini, the one that I call Pepperoncini number 1 or 2. I will do taste tests on those and try to see if they're anywhere near the same as this. But they need to ripen up a little bit. But that's the core. But yeah, that's your pepper review for the pepperoncini. Not much else to say about it other than what I just said about pickling. But yeah, that's your review. And if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.